Tonight, we are going to focus on the bandits that are, striking in Borgu local government of Niger State, which has come under fresh attacks. And the government killed several residents, abducted many others, and burnt down security outposts. This latest assault comes barely 2 weeks after similar attacks in the area. Security agencies say they have stepped up raids on suspected camps following fresh directives from authorities. Yet, the killings continue, raising questions about strategy and response. On politics, talks of a possible replacement of Vice President Kashim Shettima on the 2027 ticket refuses to fade. The presidency and the All Progressive Congress have denied any rift. Still, party insiders and opposition figures keep the debate alive. Some argue any move against Shettima could hurt the APC at the time it faces tough electoral mathematics. Others say the political choices may shape party's chances in 2027. We are joined now by political analyst, security analyst, Comrade Salihu Mahmud, to break it all down. Comrade Salihu Mahmud, you are welcome.
A very good evening to you, my elder statesman. You know, I am the only one that calls you elder statesman because I know your word. I haven't galactroted across, and today you are also serving the nation domestically. May God be with you.
Thank you very much for that prayer. But let's move to very serious issues. Borgu local government of Niger State. It has been under a spate of attacks, unrelenting attacks. And it's like there's a siege on that local government. What really are the issues? Can you, unpack it for us? What really is the scale, the scope of these attacks? And what are the issues at stake?
Yes, Borgu, that starts from Kanji, New Busa in Niger State, extending to Kayama in Kwara North, Barute local government in Kwara State, have been left without standard security structures over the years. From dilapidated nature of roads to non-government presence. This culminated to non-state actors making that particular axis a dumping site. Even though we have illegal mining activities taking place in most of these communities, you see that insurgents or bandits go and attacks people, including Woro under Kayama local government that came under attack.
So in effect, what you are saying is that, like in other parts of, Zamfara and the rest, it's about mining. It's not about local issues or local conflicts. It's about mining. And so these attackers, are they locals or are they foreign elements coming from what direction?
They are mixed. Like the Boko Haram, Lakurawa, and the Mahmuda terrorists, they have domesticated people, then they have foreigners. If you talk about Lakurawa, for instance, whenever they are fleeing from Sokoto, around Kebbi area, coming to Niger, coming to Kwara, they are using that as escape route. Then they now come and find solace in certain areas under these local governments. Then they also recruit inhabitants. Like the onslaught they carried out in Woro, they had people speaking Boko language. Boko language could be found under Babana, under Agwara local government area of Niger State. And this is what you find once surveillance is not at beef, once places are ungoverned. You can tell me that in the entire area. When
you say they're ungoverned, what do you really mean? Are you saying that there are no officials there, no government presence there, no security men? Because that area also houses the biggest, arguably, I think the biggest, electricity dam there, the Kainji, dam, and, the Air Force base there. So why do you call that place ungoverned? Is that not, an indication of presence of government there?
Kanji, which is New Busa, is where the Kanji Dam is situated.
Yeah.
Most of these places where these insurgents or bandits attacks are outskirts. When you talk about this Konkoso, you go to Babana area, Swashi, Agwara in Niger State, they are all outskirts because you drive from Kanji before getting there, even the dilapidated nature of roads is enough. Then when you come to Woro, under Kayama local government too, the areas you can hardly find outpost of police in place like Woro with 10 AK-47. And the non-state actors that came and massacred about 300 people came atop about 70 motorcycles. 70. So when you leave Mokwa, going to Kanji, you before getting to where the main Kanji Dam is, where you find military checking point, you can't find military checking point before there. It was in Ibi. They kidnapped a former commissioner, Ibrahim Niworu, as well as Barrister Ahmed, a serving member of INEC office in Niger State. Up till date, they are in captivity, even with the payment of 70 million ransom. The non-state actors that abducted them still calls. Sometimes they will say, give us card and host of other things. There are lacking Mopo squadrons, those of the counter-terrorism unit, outside the air weapons school, the 101 Battalion and 221. The strategy of 101 Battalion, 221 and air weapons school, at the time the non-state actors wanted to attack them some years back, worked out because they got privileged intelligence information. They blocked the road from Kanji to Wawa, even the communities, all this, you know, to the knowledge of the security agencies, the DSS, Army, it was the army that blocked the road in order. They were planning, because the non-state actors had said they were coming to attack, because they had a detention facility there where they are detaining some of their members. But the intelligence network of that battalion, 101, 221, and air weapons school, it worked, where they blocked that run. At the time the bandits came attacking, they wasted the security forces, wasted them instead of them recording casualties as the part of the members of the armed forces. Yeah, but so that is strategy. But now, this type of strategy, I don't know where it has gone to. Even the officers that achieved that, some of them are in army farms today in Abuja here. How hard do you do this kind of thing? These were the kind of people they ought to have called, tapped from the kind of strategy and skills they used. But what happened?
Talking about strategy, I mean, these are people who have more or less laid siege to that area for quite some time now. By now, we would have expected there should have been some kind of synergy between the various security agencies and the locals of that area, and to find a way of, you know, mapping out the attackers and knowing how to prevent them from causing the mayhem that they have been doing. Now we have a situation whereby they are running at that place freely and they're doing what they want to do. And it appears that the government from Niger and Kwara are playing catch up. Why should this happen? Isn't there enough information and enough, mapping of the activities here to be able to at least prevent some of these attacks?
You know, we have a kind of mentality problem in the country. It is when something affects a so and so person, higher echelon, that they take seriously. Negligence and poor intelligence gathering escalated the situation. I can say even before the advent of Mahmuda terrorist invasion, where they took some action, sending army response squad, DSS, whatever. It was DSS that arrested the leader in Wawa under Borgu local government area of Niger State. We had expected in these abandoned wildlife forests from that time, there should have been DMI operatives in disguise, Defense Intelligence Agency operatives, those of the DSS Sophisticated Strike Force, as well as those of Force CID and others. But aftermath of it, everything got neglected. Then also, the economic activity on illegal gold mining and wood logging are also making some of the inhabitants to connive with these non-state actors. Even in that war, after they were slaughtered about 300 people, at the backyard there, about 50 insurgents were there on illegal mines. We got the privileged ownership involvement information we transmitted. Whether the intelligence agencies acted or not, we don't know. But what is there is, in the entire region, there is poor intelligence gathering. Number 2, surveillance is lacking. Then 3, negligence. Then 4, poor infrastructure. Because you naturally find them having field day when roads are bad. Roads from Wawa to Kayama is nothing to write home about. Roads from Wawa, Swashi, Agwara up to Babana, nothing to write home about. Leaving Kayama to Baruten, nothing to write home about. Then there is no smoke without fire. And that is why sometimes when certain communal issues are happening, we should be very careful. Like I can vividly bring to the knowledge of His Excellency Governor of Kwara State, there is a community called Shia under Barute local government. He needs to make his commissioner for local government and chieftaincy matters, because we are talking about security here. There are different forms of breach of security. We got certain petition that the person they chose as the head of the local chiefdom is not supported by majority, even though it remains allegation. So I think the governor, Abdurrahman Abdurazak, should make his commissioner for local government to go into, because if the security of that community is breached, a lot of pictures have been sent out. So what I'm also trying to say, that is to tell you there is a disconnect in certain areas. What happens to the security agencies in those areas or intelligence gathering? Are you posted to do yam flour business, soya bean business, or cotton? Because I've been traveling to those routes. You are a stakeholder, a local stakeholder. Once it is 6 o'clock, you will not feel comfortable moving from Mokwa to Kanji to Agwara Babana, or Wawa to Kayama to Barute, which ought not to be. So above all, security should not be when president is moving to the airport. Like yesterday, when Mr. President was to come back from Arugungu, I saw how police officers, gas brigades were running etasketa. They want to go and do route lining. These things they do, I don't want to say it's a pure security movement. They do before president moves and goes and what have you. What happens to doing that in areas where people were massacred, in Zamfara, where bandits are having field day in Katsina, in Borno, in other parts of the Kogi, even Niger also. So it's a kind of a big man security protection. Mr. President said certain percentage of police officers should be withdrawn from certain undeserving VIPs. I have not seen outside the Woro massacre that made a DIG to fly helicopter and go, and we have about 200 police officers there. We have not seen up to 500 counter-terrorism officers in both Niger and Kwara.
Well, let's put this thing in focus. These areas are contiguous. That's Borgu in Niger State,
and also other parts of Borgu in Kwara.
Other parts of Borgu in Kwara, Kayama, they're all contiguous. Now, if you take it further down or further up, you find it's also up to Zamfara, Katsina, all in a contiguous, swath of area, and these areas are governed by APC governors. Why haven't there been efforts by these governors of these areas to come together and say, look, we should be able to pool our resources together. Let's face these things together, because sometimes when it happens in Kwara and you fold your arms, these guys move to Borgu and launch from Borgu to Kwara, or move from Kwara to Borgu, and from Borgu to Zamfara and to Kaduna State and all those areas. Why haven't the governors of this area, they're all APC governors by the way, why haven't they been able to put their acts together and say, look, we will face this, so we do not have this area, a contiguous area of insecurity, banditry, and all kinds of things. Why hasn't that happened?
Well, I think some of the governors, because I can vividly recall a United Nations Development Program-backed security summit was held in Katsina, where most of the Northwest governors went there. But it appears they only went there to do the theory, not practical. Because aftermath of that, we even saw some of the governors saying they should release certain, even though it remains allegation, or there should be kind of negotiation and host of other things. They failed to learn from their counterparts from Southwest. How come it hasn't gotten? They have Amotekun, they have a common security trust fund. So in the north here, the entire north, both northeast, northwest, and north central, they refuse to go for visibility studies in states like Lagos, Ogun, Osun,
Southwest
Oyo,
in general,
and Ondo together. How just the way they have a joint Odua investment, they also brought a joint security trust fund. What stopped the northern governors from also following suit? Severally, they said we set up so security architecture. What is the expertise that the Southwest governors brought into their own security trust fund and Amotekun that is being sustained?
Yeah, because this is what people are talking about, that in the Southwest, all the states, right from Lagos, right up to Ondo, Ekiti, as you rightly observed, got together and said, look, we must have a strategy to face this thing so that when it happens in one state, the other states, assist the state where this thing is happening. And also have an umbrella security, architecture that would, attend to address insecurity issues. But what you find here is one state is doing its own, another state is doing its own, and then the whole thing, they're all under siege from the same from the same type of bandits and insurgents, and yet everybody's doing his own in a silo way. Why can't the northern governors, especially those areas where these things are happening, pull their resources together and do this and face this bandit, so that at least we know that they cannot pick and choose areas to strike, as it is happening in those areas where this insurgency is happening?
I think politics is also making it so for them. Because I will take example from Zamfara. The incumbent Minister of State for Defense, Bello Mutole, when he was a governor, he set up a committee headed by former Inspector General of Police, Muhammadu Diko, Abubakar, MD Abubakar.
Yes.
Aftermath of the committee sitting, they submitted a report to him. Till date, even the predecessor did not find that document important to be implemented. That is what is happening in most northern states in the country, where they will assemble people, they will speak English. At the end of the day, the recommendations will not be implemented. And once you constitute committee, at the end of submission of the committee report and it's not being implemented, is as much as not been done. So what is worrying them is like misplaced priority and them not bringing experts to spearhead most of this. When you look at the Southwest, for instance, Amotekun you will find in Lagos is the same Amotekun in Ogun and Ondo. But what you find in the North, Niger State Security Outfit name is different. That of Katsina is different. If Kwara has it, it's different. If Taraba has it, it's different. Gombe, Katsina, it shouldn't be so. There should be a common name, common uniform.
Common architecture?
Common architecture, common operational modalities. That is how it should be. So I think that common operational modalities is what is lacking in the northern states because they refuse to have a common cause. Every day, you only see the governors waking up. I am chief security officer. I have limited powers. I cannot control commissioner of police. I cannot control commanding officer. How come governors of Southwest are achieving with that same control they don't have on the representation of the security agencies in their state?
Especially the fact that the
collaboration.
Most of the governors are actually from the same party. So why can't they have that unity of purpose? Is it that, and culturally, of course, they are more or less similar. Why can't they have that security unity of purpose as the others in the Southwest are doing, to be able to attend to this, to be able to address these issues? And you can see that, actually, as you rightly observed, some of these issues have to do with, the economic, activities going in there, like, illegal mining, deposits, and all kinds of things. Why can't they have a concerted effort in terms of doing that? If it is the economy, why don't you just get them together and say, look, okay, we want this thing, we want the economy, but we want it in a way that is structured, that is safe, that is secure.
You see, aside the economic gains and some of their involvements, even though it remains allegation, illiteracy and poverty has also made most of the governors in the north to take the led, the governed for granted, where this Rankedede and Elabe syndrome has failed us. We don't have the zeal, the guts, the bravery to challenge them. Unlike the Southwest, there is a step you take in Ogun State. Before morning, you see columnists writing, indigenous columnists, articles and other criticisms, radio stations and host of other things. Even though during Ajimobi in Oyo State, we saw where they demolished part of Fresh FM and also other things. But to some extent, ours is total questioning of our leadership, where accountability is lacking, where instead of people that have been governed, that are lacking in certain security, coming to say these are the challenges, rather when such governors are coming, they will line up and start saying Rankadede. We see on television where a governor visits certain place and say, Bawa Nekada, give this one so amount of money. Our governors are turned to sharing, giving, and letting them follow. Unlike the Southwest governors where whatever you are doing, your stewardship, from 1 month is being scrutinized. Somebody is there watching you as a watchdog. So we need to properly educate our people in the north, reduce poverty. Once these challenges are taken away, we'll be able to stand firm and challenge. Tell me how many people can challenge, even the few ones that are challenging their governors in Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina, Kwara, Niger, and also other things. Sometimes we saw where Badegi FM was locked up by governor, even though he doesn't have that power. It's the power of the MBC. That's what happens in the north. So we must remove rank-identity syndrome, fight poverty, as well as properly educate our people so that everybody can be able to challenge this governor, because our governors in the north are too powerful. They are powerful to the extent where they decide who becomes local government chairman, councillor, state assembly members, House of Rep member, emirs, as well as senators, which shouldn't be. In the southwest, it is very, very difficult, even though I know to some extent they do it, but then, the way they challenge differs from ours.
Apart from being a security and political analyst, you are also a local stakeholder. These areas you are talking about are areas that are well known to you, are areas that you belong. I want you, before we end this segment, I want you to give us, Nigerian people, the kind of solutions you think that can be applied. I mean, solutions that can be applied. We've talked about a few ones now, but we want to look at, because these issues, it appears that most of the bandits that are wreaking havoc in that area are not from that area. Are they locals? If they are locals, can they be identified and punished? And if they are foreigners or foreign elements, can they be also apprehended? Give us a local perspective as a local stakeholder.
In the first place, there should be setting up of permanent security structures, those of the police, army, and whatever. Because like these things that happens in some of these ungoverned communities, it is because these attackers know that there is no presence of any visible security to repel any invasion by them.
And proactive,
That is it. Then number two, intelligence gathering must be extended to nook and crannies of this country. Then our porous borders must be managed. If you go to border areas from Babana to Benin Republic, nothing to write about. Jibia, Niger, nothing to write about. Gamborungala, Chad, nothing to write about. Chikanda, Baruten, Benin Republic border, nothing. Shaki, Benin Republic, and host of others. You don't take security agencies there to just make returns to you. No, you must provide logistics, drones, and gadgets. What happens to dispatch of drones, 8 hours drones? They'll give you the what have you, but all these things you can't find them when you are traveling outside the Federal Capital Territory. Even in FCT here, be traveling to Kuje or Rubochi or Gwagwalada or Dobi, you can't find any Uvaren drone. Talk more of a police helicopter of other things. So then also these abandoned wildlife forests. There used to be what you call Gandundaji before. There used to be park rangers and park service. Where are they? They needed to be brought out. Forget about forest guards. These are new ones that don't know. There are certain people that know these terrains. Recruit them. Let them manage the wildlife forest by providing offices for them there, surveillance, patrol, and all stuff like that. Then again, engage some vigilantes. In most of these states now, from the establishment of forest guards, they are losing grip on them because they are not being given that attention as.
On a last note, now that the government has brought in outsourced some of these things to the Americans are now around. Maybe some of them have even been deployed to those areas. Do you think that would at least help the situation a little bit?
Well, even though I know we have different perspectives to Americans coming, if it's going to be on our existing security structure, particularly the army, fine, where maybe we have about 5 or 10 of them. Any operations they are going for, our troops might be up to, say, 50 or 100, while they are like 10. Because the essence of their own involvement will be on sophisticated weapons handling. Don't forget, of recent, they donated some to us. But in mainstream intelligence gathering, no. A mainstream, skill of things, no. Because once you are a sovereign nation and you bring the security of another country to be part of your intelligence gathering, you have sold out part of your independence to them. So on training and weapons handling, that we agree. But on intelligence and getting to know certain documented what have you, it shouldn't be. They shouldn't go to that extent because no country can do that and get its own peace. So if for the weapons that, look at the kind of mistake that was done in Kaduna Tudumbiri, where there to be that expertise shouldn't have happened. So those kind of areas, I believe, is why the Americans are brought in, but we must also check their numbers. If the numerical strength exceed ours, automatically it's like neocolonialism.